Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the opening. It's QRT's GT3 Championship Season 4. The first three absolute bangers. My name, 00 Raven. John Wright, of course, I've been here since the start. Joining me this evening, the absolute legend for the rest of the season as well, that is Mr. Sean Madden. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, John. Good evening, QRT, and everyone else as well. Glad to be here after seeing some of the finest races last year. It's absolutely fantastic and exciting to be back.
Indeed, yeah, last season, Season 2, Season 1, they've been incredible, and this season is going to be exactly the same. We've got 6 rounds coming up. We've got a similar format. We've got some very, very, very excited commentators that can't wait to get this one underway. Qualifying is already underway. As I mentioned, it will be myself, 00 Raven, leading the way on the commentary, but joining me for this season. He's been at QRT before, and I'm sure he cannot wait to get back stuck into it again. It is the inimitable Mr. Sean Madden. It's going to be a cracker, Sean.
Yes, indeed, John, and thank you for the intro as well. Absolutely love that. Yes, of course. Thank you. Yes, of course, today we are at sunny Valencia for round 1 of this GT3 Championship Season 4. Then next week on the 19th of September, it will be, of course, at Spa, followed by Watkins Glen on the 26th of September. The 3rd of October will be at the British circuit, Silverstone, of course. Then joined by its brother circuit, Donington Park, on the 10th of October. And then the final round of the championship will be round 6 at Kyalami. What fantastic circuits and what fantastic races we have in store for you. What do you think, John?
Yeah, calendar of the gods once again. There's something that QRT always do well. That is the calendar, and something they always, an ethos they always like to go with. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We'll have 30 minutes of qualifying this evening, 10 minutes for each of the classes. The pros have already qualified. Silver and Am will be out soon, and then it is the 1 hour race with the mandatory pit stop. Couple of changes to the scoring though, and some success ballast has been added to the series. So each week 9 lucky drivers will receive a penalty. 3 of them will receive a 20-second penalty for being first in their respective championship. Second place will win 15 seconds of time in the pits during their pit stop for being bold enough to be second in their respective championship. And third place will be bestowed the gift of 10 seconds. Their mechanics can stand idle waiting to change the tyres and put the mandatory fuel in. Not only that, a bit of a change as well. All lap 1 incidents will receive a drive-through penalty, plus 3 penalty points in the championships, and that is quite frankly huge, given that there's only 1 point difference between what the drivers will score down through the finishing positions. So yeah, some things have stayed very much the same. A couple of things have most definitely changed, and a few of them I would say for the better as well. But the format will stay the same, and the drivers, the qualifying though slightly different. We do have 3 splits now. Of course, before we had 2 splits, the pros and the silvers, but quite the uptake on the series. We've got 40 drivers out on track between the 3 splits. Sorry, I'm getting myself massively overexcited. Tom Wegman. The pros are qualifying for the first 10 minutes. They are graciously rubbering in the tracks for the silvers and the arms, and in my opinion, that is exactly the way it should be. Last season's champion, Damien, all-conquering Konzig, wrapped it up after 4 weeks of racing. He's got the big brain livery on. He's going to need the big brain straps. 1500s between himself and Wegman up at the top. Welcome to QRT if you've never been here before. Van der Steeg half a second behind them, but only a tenth ahead of Farmer, who's half a tenth ahead of Van der Hoek. The Silvers are out finishing their qualifying now, and then it will be the AMs. We'll need to get on a little bit earlier next week and see if we can get some of the pro quali in as well. But certainly, Sean, it looks like it's going to be a baptism of fire for you back at QRT. We've got 1500s between the top two in pros, and in the Silvers, 2500s separating the top two. So even the difference between the pros and the Silvers is only a tenth of a difference between the top two.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, blink and you'll miss it. Yeah.
Yeah, and third place as well. Sorry, to Batek as well. We'll give Batek a shout out as well, because he's only 2200s behind himself. So he's not lagging back. Sorry, 17. Oh no, Glanowski's just gone quicker. Oh, it's spicing up already, Sean.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's very, very good to see, of course. We'll see. Well, I was just about to say, well, I wonder if we see any of the silver drivers mix it up with the pro drivers. But actually, as you can see, we got Glanowski moved up into P12 overall, 1.1 seconds off of the pole sitter, but he is the pole sitter for the silver drivers. Absolutely phenomenal. And also Henderson as well, 15th overall. Also mixing it up with some of the lower pro drivers as well, so nothing to be scoffed at, and fantastic to see, John.
Yeah, we did see. We have always seen that over the season, to be fair. We've seen, I'm sure it was it Scott Ticehurst won the Silvers and is now winning races in the pros. He's qualified currently 12th in the pros at the minute. My goodness me. Yeah, no, I've closed that page prematurely. Okay, the silver winner from last season, I'm sure, is in the pros this season, but not on the track this week. Yeah. So not racing this week. I will reopen that during the race and have a look at that. But yeah, the silver driver certainly getting the laps done. In fact, Danny McCutcheon, one of the pros, not had a solid lap around Valencia. Currently sees himself 24th overall, and that could drop because Nathan Henderson, take a bow for QRT. Extra kudos to Nathan, of course. It is currently silly o'clock in the morning because he is and he's racing with a lot of blood rushing to his head. He's in Australia, so he's currently upside down. It's first thing in the morning. Wow. And he is mixing it with the pros, and he's taken pole position in the silvers by 7 thousandths of a second. Not to be outdone by the silver. So not only are they mixing it in the top 15, they're really showing them how to have a close battle in qualifying. 1500s, you say. I'll half that gap.
Yes, that is extraordinarily close together, and certainly showing their worth in the silver category. Maybe could be pro drivers next season, or certainly knocking on the door to be the pro driver. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. We're just getting the last few drivers. They'll be on their final lap for the silver drivers, and then that'll be followed by 10 minutes of qualifying for the amateur drivers. So yeah, we'll see if we can see a late charge up the silver leaderboard for Ben Sullivan, and he does improve, but not quite enough. And P10 for Deringer. There you go. Thank you, John. That is phenomenal stuff. Just 8.5 tenths off of the fastest man on the track, and certainly 2.5 tenths. Come on, get it right. 2.5 tenths quicker than his nearest rival in Henderson, John.
Yep, and he's put a whole row effectively between them. That's 2 pros between himself and Henderson. Henderson still out on a lap, but is not up on his time at the moment from what the telemetry is telling me, but that has thrown me under the bus before. And Deringer, I tell you, he's exactly half a tenth from 8th place. That is a startlingly quick time. I mean, we're saying he's 8/10 off a pole position. The front row of the grid is half a second quicker than everyone else. Derringer is 3/10 away from row 2.
Crazy.
It's quick. I mean, they really, the silver drivers, yep, pro material next year. And this is, I've said this, of course, George Cook was here with me last season, and one of the things we used to salivate over was some of the silver drivers, the way they improve over the series. They'll win a championship, they go up to the pros, and then they start winning races. They really do. They really do progress. They'll iron sharpens iron, and I mean, these qualifying times are just, it's quite frankly ridiculous at this point. Martins and Papaya are separated by 5 thousandths of a second. Matt Redfern, 18th place, and he's only 8/10 off the front row of the grid.
Absolutely.
Second row of the grid,
crazy.
sorry, second row of the grid. My apologies, second row of the grid.
Yeah,
that half a second difference, of course. Now, yeah, so 7/10 off the second row of the grid in 18th place. It is incredible, and it's now time for the arms of track well rubbered in. It's now hit optimum at 31 degrees, and the silvers actually, let's bring up a quick look at the timetables. You can see Wegman there, and this is another thing I absolutely love to see. It completely fascinates me, as Sean will testify. They love to see this, Sean, so close. No one driver taken all 3 purple sectors, split between 3 drivers in 3 completely different cars, and Van der Steeg took sector 3's quickest time while being half a second slower than the driver ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely crazy, and really good to see as well. And it just shows you the strengths and weaknesses of all 3 of the cars there, and certainly it means that we're not going to be able to take our eyes off of the racing action, because there's always going to be something happening all over the circuit. I just want to quickly mention to the people that have joined chat as well, some of them that I do recognise in Bill and Moose, because they've been ordering me to say something. Especially Moose, because he's threatened to blow up my phone. So, welcome in, guys.
Moose, do it. Do it now. Do it.
Do it now.
Apologies, chat. I get overly excited, and yeah, I do. But no, Sean, yes, please do go and say a big hello to the chat and give everyone a shout out, mate. Fill your boots.
Will do indeed. So yeah, thank you all for joining me, and of course people that I will hopefully get to know over the course of this season as well. Thank you all so much for joining us today. This should be an absolute cracker of a race. Of course, Harry as well, the main man of QRT as well. Hello, sir. Yeah, we are in the last 6 minutes of qualifying right now. The amateurs just setting their fastest times now, so we're on board with Harry Howard, part of the AMR GT, is it?
Yes.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, a little bit of a a little bit of
and this is why the commentary team shies away from doing onboards during quali, because then we then get drivers in the DMs. You cursed my quali lap, I was 3/10 up. It's not unprecedented.
Yeah, I mean, I've been criticised and accused of ruining many of drivers' race, so I don't want to be responsible for any such actions during this race, but I'm sure it will happen though, John.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. As sure as 2 drivers will trade paint over an hour over Valencia, yeah, we will curse one lucky driver. This is the course, it is the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, Valencia. It is a MotoGP circuit. How these drivers get this car round here, lap after lap, insane. I've tried to drive this, and as a driver at Valencia, I make a phenomenal commentator. We've just seen Curva Aspar and Curva Dure, of course, named after the GP rider, and on towards Curva Nieto. We're going to very soon get the Curva Champe Herrero. the scariest corner in all of motor racing, in my humble opinion. The exit curves are ridiculous and proof eternal. You can't get an on-board lap during qualifying. As they're all thrown under the bus. What we can talk about, Sean, though, we've got Harry in the chat. I'm going to say hello to everyone after the qualifying ends, because there's so much going on. We'll love to see the Silvers doing well. Up to the plate steps a surname that I can definitely get on board with. It's Mr. Scotland there in 18th position. Callum leading the way in the arms at the moment, and he's up in 18th position, which would put him 5th in the silver, Sean. Competition throughout the field. Again, welcome to QRT. If you haven't been here before, you will be back again. Am I right, Sean?
Yes, indeed. And I like his ploy as well, John. He's going with the tartan livery. He's trying to blind every man and foe out on circuit, hoping to qualify as high up as possible, and then maybe even take a few victims along the way. But yeah, certainly doing a fantastic job right now. P1 for the amateurs, and as you mentioned, P5 amongst the silvers. So there is a competition throughout the grid, and it's absolutely great to see as he went full send on this second to last corner there. That will hurt him a little bit, but it just shows you it's I was going to say a phrase there, but maybe it's not appropriate at this time of the day. I'm not sure, John. But
yeah, if you're not sure, don't say it. That's the general rule of thumb to live by, I've found these days. It's better safe than coughed up and in jail. We've got a good mix of cars as well, though, Sean. It's great to see the LFM bot working absolutely phenomenally well. There's no Meta McLaren, there's no, I mean, we've no Bentley. Massively sad that we've got no Bentley this season. But yeah, Hondas, Porsches, Aston Martins, 3 different cars in the overall, in fact 4 different cars in the top 4, with a Honda up in 4th place. We've got the new Mustang, Lambos, a phenomenal mix, and if nothing else, this is going to be an absolute symphony of sound as these 40 cars race around what is not a very long track.
Yeah, indeed. It's certainly going to be a very exciting race, and as I mentioned earlier, we're going to see the strengths and weaknesses of all the manufacturers out there. I'm actually quite surprised I don't see a Mustang out there. I'm actually very disappointed I don't see a Mustang out there. Is there?
Yep, up in the top 10, Jerome Jongen.
Oh, good on you, Jongen. There we go. Oh, yeah. And Gibson in P12
as well.
Yeah,
Gibson as well, yes. Yeah. Yes, Mark Gibson. It's a nice livery. He's got the Fast and the Furious eSports livery on that.
Love it.
It is, yeah, very good. It is very good. We've got qualifying very quickly coming to an end for all concerned. Daniel Christo is up on his time. Zoltan Bozo for Turner Motorsport, which is, that's an in-game livery. So not part of a team himself, but he is. No, that's not going well. He's just lost the back of the BMW ever so slightly. On 3/10 in his back pocket there. Oh, and he's finding a bit of time. So he is up and down. He's going to go a bit quicker potentially, but it's not going to be anywhere near quick enough to get to Scotland. And Delassis there, who's not far behind Scotland. He's almost got himself into the top 20, and as soon as he jump on him, he's lost that 2/10 that he had. I was about to say he could jump into the top 20 just to make it a nice outing for the arms in qualifying there, Sean. He might sneak it at the end, but 2 arms, no, he might not.
No,
that
unfortunately.
That would be Champion Herrero, would it? My goodness me.
Yeah, unfortunately, just pushed it a little bit too hard. It's very, very easy to lose time on this particular circuit, and actually, as well as we are on board with Scotland, so we'll see if he can go that a little bit quicker. It does look like he is going to get pole position for the amateurs, though, as the countdown clock has expired. So,
oh, he's going for top 15.
Yeah,
wow.
He does as well. Fantastic. Into overall 13th. So actually beating some of the pro drivers and making them look amateurish.
Straight under the bus. Love
it. But yeah, fantastic display from Scotland, and yeah, you must be very proud, John.
Indeed. Very proud. The tartan, and can confirm if he does lift that thing, there's a lot under the hood. We have timetables coming up for confirmation. We'll see them all on the starting grid. In their overall order, let me just refresh that. We'll get some times. There we go. So it's Scotland and Delassis on the front row for the AMS. Bozo, Haustad, Howard Khan, Christo, Pujari, Scott, Perry, and Ashraf, the 11 drivers in the AMS. In the silvers, Derringer, Henderson, Glenofsky, Martins, Goldie, Kranz, Batek, Sullivan ahead of Bell. That's going to be an absolute phenomenal battle. Dare I say, ding dong. Bell joke, terrible. Flint, Dedoig, Lidke and Wilson, with Wraith bringing up the rear in the silvers. And in the pros, what a battle. Wegman v Konzig, Ferrari v McLaren. Hopefully George Cook gets to watch this one back and Wegman wipes the floor with him. I'm not biased, you are. Van der Steeg ahead of Farmer with Van der Hoek, Choi, Young in 7th place. Podium. Vinning and Jerome Jongen in 9th. Derringer popping up in the top 10. Ahead of Kolesnikov, with Gibson just behind him in 11th for the pros. Ticehurst and Papai forced out of the top 15 by Scotland, Henderson and Glenofsky. Redfern starting 19th overall, 13th in the pros with McCutcheon in 15th place. This is going to be an interesting one, and with so many cars, Sean, it's not unlikely that we're going to see quite a variation in the pit stop strategy.
Yes, indeed. So one mandatory pit stop in this 1 hour race at Valencia. So yeah, there could be some drivers going in early. There could be some drivers going in very late. John, what is the pit window? Is there a pit window on this race? There's not. Right. Okay. So as we know, John, the tyres can last a good hour or so as well. So, you know, there could be drivers even pitting on the very last lap, or second to last lap, should I say?
Indeed, yeah, it's certainly not unheard of. We've seen many drivers in QRT races bring wins home from every strategy, be it a podium from a pit at the end of lap 1. To waiting until the absolute death of it and bringing the pit on the penultimate lap. If this will start to work. It looks like everything's broken tonight. No, there we go. We've got Tom. Oh no, it has. Sorry, there we go. Yep, Tom Wegman on the front row of the grid. Hopefully not. You guys and girls, I'm getting to see that. Is Damien Konzig in second place, only 1500s separating them. Then it is Van der Steeg side by side with Tyler Farmer, the overall row 2. Then it is Mike Van der Hoek in 5th position, guiding the Fast and the Furious Ferrari side by side with Glenn Choi's MME Group Motorsport Ferrari. Then behind them is Wild Things Darrell Young. I'm only a bit of a fanboy, I promise. Chris Vinning will join him on overall row 4 with Jerome Young. Yeah, the final pro to get ahead of the silver class, where we see Michael Deringer leading the way at 10th overall. Quite the qualifying. Dave Kolinovsky, but might need to speed this one up a bit. Mark Gibson on row number 6 with Callum Scotland. In 13th position, what a run for the armed driver in quali. We've got Nathan Henderson in the QRT Aston Martin in 14th place, with Michael Glenofsky in 15th position. Scott Ticehurst, the pro driver, winner in races last season, starting in 16th with Christophe Opine 17th. And then it is Mark Martins, row number 9, rounded out and on to row 10, Matt Redfern and Rick Kranz. We've got Fabian Goldie in 21st with Rick Kranz. That's kind of put them out of order slightly because they're overtaking one another in quali. So Arnaud Delazeus and Andre Batek, 22nd and 23rd. Ben Sullivan and Chris Bell are side by side to start this one, with Jules Flint and Lucas Dedoy, 26th and 27th position. Danny McCutcheon in 28th place. He'll be just ahead of Lucas Ludka and Zoltan Bozo in 29th and 30th place respectively. Harry Howard and Mike Wilson 32 and 33, with Ronak Khan and Daniel Christo in 34th and 33rd. We've got Wraith in 36th, with Ram Pujari and Zach Scott 37th and 38th. 39th is Alex Perry, and rounding out the field it is Omar Sharif. And Sean, we've got time for about 2 words for you, my friend.
Thank you, John. Yeah, just break a leg, everyone, and let's have a fantastic race.
And we certainly will. Along the start-finish straight they go. Warm-up done. The lights are green. It's foot down. It's fly. But it's flying into turn one. And they've gone almost flying into one another as Konzik takes the lead. 15,000 separated them in qualifying. There's nothing separating them into turn number 1 as Wegman looks to fight back. He's got the apex. Konzik is going to have a big lift to avoid the penalty. There's no room back on the track as Wegman holds the middle line. We've got a couple of yellow flags. Minor off tracks. Oh, the Mercedes takes a little bit of a tap there as the MME Motorsport. Glenn Choi gets overtaken as Darrell Young with lap 1. Beautiful overtake he's got done there. Wegman holding on to the lead of the race. Damien Konzik all over his rear spoiler. He had the race momentarily. Down the field, Deringer. Looks like he's got an absolutely solid start. So too has Scotland. Mark Gibson's made up some positions in the back end as well. Some incredible side-by-side action on the opening lap. Those stringent lap 1 penalties bringing out the absolute best in the drivers. We can see them in the middle sector. They're just up ahead. 3 wide is Nathan Henderson, jockeys for position with big brains. Matt Redfern up the inside as a Fast and the Furious BMW is wide in the background. It is all going on and it is all absolutely precision stuff. We've had 3 or 4 incidents in the opening. That is incredible stuff as Wegman, one of the biggest battles that we've seen was Wegman and Konzik, who temporarily held the lead of the race. Van der Steeg up into 3rd position, with Tyler Farmer still in 4th. Van der Hoek. Oh, Christophe Papai, he's under serious pressure. Matt Redfern looked like he was going to potentially be overtaken. He is now taking positions if he can. Nathan Henderson pushing the BMW Batek out onto the curbs. Couldn't find a way past. Goldie Bell are now, there's a couple of changes there actually. Dilla Seuss I think has dropped down. And we've seen drivers coming into the pits as well, going for the Uber undercut on the really monster into turn 1. Nathan Henderson wide out on the AstroTurf there almost. He's going to have slowed down to avoid a penalty. Oh, that's not good, Matt Redfern. Dropping down the order, making a bit of contact there, Sean. Some really precision stuff there, and then just tyres not quite in the window. And Pujari with a drive-through penalty, and a stop go for Borowick as well. So it's all suddenly kicked off, but what a start that was, Sean. Beautiful stuff up at the front between the top 2. And yeah, a couple of little incidents now creeping in, but all in, that is an incredible first lap.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, no chance of a break for you there, John. Action up and down the grid. And yeah, I was going to say to you, yeah, the two drivers, one of them had a stop and go 30-second, and the other with a drive-through penalty. So they're just serving them penalties now. But yes, absolute phenomenal start to the race. Well, I mean, just unbelievable to see how close the racing is with minimal accidents, apart from the two that we just mentioned earlier, John.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the replay of them there, but obviously the replay's function has thrown me under the bus, so we're not going to be able to get much of that this evening. There is Mark Redfern back on track. I'm going to... okay, so... Yes, so I think this was the incident then. Is it going to be just before it? So yeah, he goes to go round the side of the Lamborghini. The BMW comes from a long way downtown, really makes that stick, and then just no room on
just
the
a domino effect.
Redfern. Yep, absolute domino effect there, and it's Redfern that came worst off. But it has to be said, the Jamaican bobsled team at BMW, Sean, he really got that car turned and rotated on an absolute sixpence. He could be one to watch going forward.
Yeah, certainly the BMW does tend to favour the more technical part of the circuit, which, you know, as we saw with the...
Sorry, let's just... yeah, actually, you know what, Sean, my apologies to everyone. I'm going to just quickly interrupt you there, just to... we haven't done our due diligence. Callum Scotland is in 11th position ahead of the Silvers.
Wow.
Yeah, we really need to focus on what's happening on track rather than micro-analysing a couple of the incidents, it seems, because, yeah, we're 5 minutes into this. It's Wegman, Consig and Van der Steeg, top three in the pros, leading the Arms and the Silvers, Callum Scotland in the tartan livery. Let's hear it for Callum. Hopefully no cuss to the commentator, and he's right in the hunt behind Glenn Choi as well. He's getting some good slipstream. He's got Scott Ticehurst in the Lambo behind them. Callum could be on for an absolutely worldly and a very quick promotion, at least up to Silvers, if not potentially the pros. The Silvers currently running 14th. Michael Derringer leading the way with Nathan Henderson involved in all that jockeying. Did get some overtakes done. Second place he finds himself in. Chris Bell has catapulted up through the Silvers as well. He's now in third place with Glenowski in fourth. Della Seuss dropping some overall positions, still on the arm podium, and Harry Howard, whose luck we cursed in qualifying, he's got himself in third position, but he does have Renat Khan just behind him, and Khan has made up 6 positions so far as opposed to Howard's 5. The two of them could be on for quite the make overall, with Chris Bell up 8 positions, the biggest gainer in the top 20 at the moment. It's all happening right through the field. Ticehurst has a bit of a wobble. Still up at the front it is Consig and Wegman though, Sean. You want to talk about precision, pace, consistency? I would, yeah, let me present these two. Sorry, stumbling over my words trying to think of someone overly clever to say. They're just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, these two have certainly got it in spades, and yeah, Wegman actually with the purple lap time as well, but Konchik, he, you know, just sticking to him like glue and not giving him any time to relax or anything like that. He's got to be nailed onto every single corner and hope that he can escape the clutches of the McLaren driver in P2, John.
Yeah, it is absolutely incredible, the precision between the two of them. Yeah, I'm often get into trouble for not watching the race leaders because they're sometimes off up in the distance and watch the close patch, but these two are going to be well deserving all the camera time. It's still a solid pack inside the top 10, but we see Jerome Jongen in the QRT Mustang. He's made up places with Kolanowski. He's now in 7th position, and the Mercedes behind him has got a battle on their hands with Vinning and Glenn Choi looking to get themselves back up. And just behind them is Callum Scotland, who's got Scott Ticehurst just behind him. Not too many seasons ago, Ticehurst was in the silvers. Last season, he's winning races in the pros. So that gives you an idea of just how quick this group of cars is. They've all got a bit of pace and they've all got a bit of race IQ, so some serious overtaking action could well be coming our way in this little group. So too with Tyler Farmer and Jan Willem van der Steeg, who's in the Mercedes this season. Engine sound of the absolute gods from that car. He's being chased down by the Honda. This is a battle we don't often see, Sean, but I am here for it. Honda versus Mercedes. Let's go.
Yes, indeed, and Van der Steeg, that I remember from last year, some of the best races I saw, particularly I believe it was Spa. It was like one of the closest ever finishes, to the point where ACC couldn't even tell them apart, actually, and we had to actually look at photos to actually see who actually crossed the line first. But yeah, Van der Steeg just holding off Farmer at the moment, and it's looking like AMG is slightly winning the battle at the moment, but we do know, John, how fast that Honda is in the straight line, and maybe use that slipstream to his advantage right now.
Yeah, indeed, yeah, coming on at the start-finish straight, you definitely feel that's where Farmer is going to be looking to take advantage of the slipstream, but the Mercedes is feeling rather frugal at the moment, sharing maybe caring, but Van der Steeg ain't caring. He wants that third position and he's got a chase on his hands. Aston Martin diving for that apex, so he's definitely looking for whatever advantage he can get, and they're not far off the race leaders. It does say 3.2 seconds on the timing board, but that is the race leaders just ahead. Van der Steeg opening up every corner as much as possible, and Farmer really throwing the Honda. You can see how much more apex he's using on the way through the corner as opposed to Van der Steeg, who really is mounting those curbs on the way in. As the exit once again, the Honda tucked under that rear spoiler. Looks so promising at this stage. They got onto the start-finish straight, and the slipstream just doesn't seem to do what Farmer needs. Certainly keeping Van der Steeg in his position, and Farmer more than keeping Van der Steeg honest at the moment. Much like Chris Vining, hopefully I'm getting that one correct, although I've just given two pronunciations at once. So really hedging my bets there, it has to be said. But Vining certainly in the, again, a great battle brewing here. We've got Mercedes being chased by Aston Martin, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Lamborghini.
Yeah, and I can see that big grin on your face right now, John, with Scotland currently in P11 and definitely in the fight, doing it for the Tartan Army, as Bill said in chat there as well. And Bulldog also saying Scotland for the win as well. I mean, that's some praise, isn't it, John?
Indeed. Well, let's face it, Scotland always does well against the big teams. It's only San Marino that sent us home. We do. Harry Howard just finding his way slightly off track, and that's a few places there. Lucas Ludke right in the slipstream looking for an overtake on Wraith. Let us watch this one, and he's really got it nailed. The BMW in a straight line, and Danny McCutcheon ahead, finding himself in a battle as well into turn number one. The BMW is going to try and go round the outside, because that's what you do when you want to win championships, and they've managed to keep it between the Mayo and the Mustard. Beautiful driving from the Silvers into turn number two. The BMW looking for an adventurous, ambitious cutback, and he might just pull this one off if he's later on the brakes. And Ferrari leaving the minimal amount of room. So competitive between these two, so clean as well. The Ferrari just running a bit wide through turn at number 5. The BMW really breathing down the back of Wraith at the moment. And yeah. Oh, Ludke, he just spun that one there. I was going to say, Ludke is almost like a Wraith on the back of that Ferrari at the minute, but just full commitment there, the back, and it's good to see as well, he could have quite easily collected Wraith there, but fully backed out of it to avoid contact. But he'll have some fun catching back up and looking to get involved in that one again, Sean.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Very interesting to see where they're braking for the corners as well. Oh, a little bit of contact in the background there, John. I couldn't see who that was. It was
Franz and Scott, I believe.
There we go. Yep. Tiniest bit of contact, and in fact, it looks like Is that a Ferrari?
Aston Martin, Newcastle United.
Oh no, I was looking at the yellow car, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, yes. Kranz. He is in the F&F Ferrari, yes.
Yeah, so he just went a little bit wide. He would have got slightly dirty tyres there. Looked like he was really struggling, but yeah, looks like both Kranz and Scott are definitely in the wars and looking to sort of pick up their pace again, John.
Yes, indeed, well, that'll be a quick repair. We have seen a couple of cars into the pits to take their man at stop. Rampaggiari, Andre Haugstad, Fabian Goldie have all been in, so too Jakob Borowick. Lucas de Doig in the pits at the moment, hasn't exited. Does say he's 41st, so I'm not sure what's going on there. We've got Danny McCutcheon in the pros. Oh, we've got more yellow flags. It's kicking. Oh wow, Glanovsky and Chris Bell involved in a potential incident. Let's see, Bell. Let's have a look here. So we are coming towards the infield section.
Oh, just a... Oh God, you don't like to see that.
No, wrong place, wrong time. Innocent bystanders collected. Did hold his brakes on the way back on, but yeah, a couple of drivers caught. With it being such a short track, it's 1 minute 30, 1 minute 32, I think the average lap time, it is safe to say. Oh, drive-through for track limits for Batik. That is early. That is. I was just about to touch on that actually as well, Sean. The fact with it being such a short track. Oh, contact in a straight line there. You don't like to see that. Ludka and Wraith going at it. Oh! The
more
BMW,
contact.
Yeah, that's a Jamaican bop. That is full on clumsy from a couple of the drivers there. The stewards' pencils will be thoroughly sharpened once again. Let's have a look back up at the battle up ahead. Let's just pick a driver at random. Callum Scotland will do. He's doing well at the minute. He's leading the way. But he's worth jumping on, Sean. We can't argue with it. He's absolutely killing it up at the front here. He is in arm class. He's 2 positions ahead of the silvers, and he is currently fending off one of last season's race winners while chasing down one of last season's podium sitters. It's an incredible display in the Aston, and another fine testament to not only the splits here at QRT, but also the LFM ballast.
100%, John. Yeah, he doesn't look out of place in the mix of the pro drivers there. It certainly does look like a pro driver, and certainly with John, because he keeps panning to Scotland there. So certainly doing John proud, and the Scots proud, of course. But yeah, certainly. Oh, yeah, Daryl Young all over the back of Farmer, it looks like. And, of course, how can you not spot Daryl Young in that pink livery there? Can he make some moves in the next couple of corners? He's certainly looking strong out there, John.
He really is. He is up 4 positions. 3 positions at the moment. Farmer himself, of course, up 1 position. Van der Steeg down 2. And that has not updated anything, so I don't think he's on an incident, but he is a bit behind. If there is anyone from the Wild Things team watching, as an absolutely avid fan of the team, if there's any chance we could go back to the silver reflective text. Thank you. Just looked incredible. There was a dark blue livery with silver reflective text, and I think if they used it on the pink, it looks good. And Daryl Young, I've waxed so lyrical about this driver in the past. He is absolutely one of my all-time favourite drivers in sim racing. I make no bones about being a phenomenally huge fan of this driver and his talent. It is so difficult to craft out an overtake at the best of times. Sometimes you can be behind another car for 4 or 5 laps. Daryl Young will get behind you. He will find your weakness. He will find where his car is quicker or better than yours. And if he can't, he will just make the overtake anyway. Absolute precision stuff. So quick, so clean, so consistent, and a ridiculously nice guy as well. I should probably hate him, Sean.
You should. But yeah, as you said, yeah, just absolute phenomenal driving from him. And that, actually, with the Valencia circuit at turn 1, a little bit of an unusual turn because you can actually extend track limits. This is actually faster to go around the outside than taking the inside line. And he set up the move to perfection and into a podium spot now. And if he keeps up this kind of pace, John, maybe try and get onto the back of the top 2.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to go back and clip the start of the stream where when I read his name out in the lineup, I did say podium. So, never mind curse to the commentator. That's going to be my claim to fame. A commentator that got a prediction correct. Wow. Now there's the thing. Vinning still absolutely, and I'm sorry, Sean, but this battle is still absolutely raging. If you want to talk us through some of this action, because Jerome Jongen, you were asking about a Mustang, and at the minute Jongen is delivering. He's got himself up a spot, and he's got Winning Choice Scotland enticers all looking for that spot, and he's keeping them at the perfect arm's length here, lap after lap. He's not overworking his tyres, he's not overly defending. They're just not quite, he's just keeping them in that dirty air, letting them have their battle and almost running his own race, even though he's only less than a second ahead of them.
Well, this is the strengths to the Mustang. As long as he can keep it nice and clean through the turns, once he gets onto the straight, you know you've got the power of the Mustang to keep in front of the drivers. So, as you mentioned, John, the drivers behind are going to find it very difficult in that dirty air to find the pace, the grip, and to even try to set up to make an overtake. So, as mentioned, Jongen, if he keeps up this pace and keeps it simple, keeps it on the black stuff, then Jongen should stay in front of this big train of cars behind him.
Indeed, yeah, and unbelievably, we're 20 minutes into this race.
Crazy. Felt like about 2 minutes, but yeah.
It literally feels like 2 minutes. 13 laps in, and while the action absolutely rages on, in fact Nathan Henderson looks like he's trying to get an overtake for the lead in the silver. He's the both of them in the silvers right on the back, so they've got Christophe Papai pulling them along in the BMW and propelling them into this battle. The Lamborghini, BMW v Lambo v Aston Martin with the Mustang closing down, and it's the battle for the lead. He's going for it into turn number 2. Oh, he was thinking about it, didn't have enough pace by a long stretch. That would have been a big send, and that is not the style of Henderson at all. He is going to keep this as clean as possible. So too Derringer. I'm expecting a very good battle between these two, and it's been raging on, to be fair. It's just flown a bit under the radar because we've had race leaders within 0.3 of a second. We've had AM drivers just outside the top 10 and battling for a top 10 position, and we've had drivers in and out the pits, and a couple up and down the order, to say the least. That's another 2 drivers into the pits. Klinowski coming in to take his pit stop 20 minutes in, and that was someone I was about to touch on, Sean. Pit window, there's not an official pit window, but it's safe to say, Khan with a drive through, he's in third in the arms. Oh, that is it. That's an early one for track limits. We tried to touch on the fact that this is a really easy track to violate the track limits, turn 1 and things. But again, more action overtook. It's a QRT race, so I don't know what we'd expect. You're probably going to get interrupted here as well, Sean. In fact, you are, because the Lamborghini is going to come side by side out of the last corner. He's going to be putting Papai under all kinds of pressure, and Henderson is right in that slipstream as well, Sean.
Yes, indeed, and if he's smart here and he allows the 2 cars in front to keep battling, he may be able to sneak an opportunity or find a gap between the 2 of them. But actually you can see that the Lamborghini driver just trying to cover all bases right now and make sure that Henderson can't put a sneaky one up the inside there. So Henderson will need to be a little bit more patient, and we'll see how clever he can be at making the double overtake, but certainly an interesting one, John.
Yeah, it really is. We'll see if he can use the pro driver to his advantage to get the lead in the silvers, or if he goes for the undercut. De La Souza looking to improve on his overall position, as we're now seeing a flood of cars coming into the pits. Sorry, there's Perry coming in. Oh no, that's not somebody coming in the pits. That was an off track. Ignore me, my apologies. There is Perry coming into the pits, but certainly Glonowski came into the pits as well from the silver. And he's currently the lead silver driver out of the pits, with Haugstad, Goldie and Borowicz all behind him. We've seen one driver not come back out of the pits, dropped off the timing board. And Tom Wegman trying to disappear up at the front. That gap was up to 1.7 seconds. But Damien Konstig wasn't a big fan of that. It's now back down to 0.8 of a second. And in fact, yeah, that is definitely close.
Yeah, it's close enough, good.
Phenomenal battle between these two, Sean.
Yes, indeed. Just when Wegman thought that he could escape the clutches of the McLaren driver, well, no, forget about that, because he's almost all over the back bumper of Wegman. And just to give him a reminder that, no, his race is not done. And, yeah, well, we're 24 minutes into this race, so still a good 36 minutes to go. And actually, I was going to say to you, John, as well, the track temperature seems to be rising by quite a few degrees now, up to 34 degrees. So this could also plan out when the drivers actually do take their pit stops in regards to their tyre pressures, John.
Indeed, yeah, the all-important tyre pressures, and they're just exiting the pits, actually. That is Derringer from the silvers. Oh, wow, they're almost side by side at the turn number one. They're absolutely nose to tail. They've got second place in the silvers just come out of the pits ahead of them, and that is how close the field is. He's come back out in 31st position, sorry, 29th position. I think it is going to iron itself out to 31st overall. So yeah, the race leaders have already caught up to 31st place, and that is how close they are. The silver podium driver has come back out 31st place overall, behind almost the entire field, and that is an absolute nightmare scenario for him, Sean, when you're trying to run your own race, when you've got the overall race leaders coming up behind you and you're just out the pits on cold tyres. You know you need to get out of the way pretty toot sweet. You really don't want to be getting involved in that battle and not ideal for your own battle to get your tyres into the pressure and get you back hunting down the class win that you're looking for.
Yes, and the problem is as well is that with a circuit like Valencia, there's not too many long straights, so it's not the easiest place to actually just pull over and just let the cars through without losing your own time and position to the drivers around you. So it's certainly needs to be planned correctly, and we'll see what happens, but of course mistakes can be aplenty and very easy to do so, but I'm not complaining. I'm a commentator. I want to see as much action as possible. I'm sure everyone in the chat will agree with me as well, John.
I'm sure they absolutely 100% will. I've got the chat on screen. I'm trying to give a quick read through again, but we've seen every driver and their dog make their way into the pits. As high as 15th now, Nathan Henderson. So we'll see how this shakes out. Big shout out to Bill Mobile, who is the first in chat that I can see. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. Harry from QRT. Sean called you sir. That is how classy Sean is. Flenth, how we doing? Good evening. We've got Van de Hoek in the chat as well. Hi from Car 13. Bulldog Conging saying Alex Perry is king. Harry giving himself a well-deserved pat in the back for his splits, looking good. We've got Van de Hoek in there. My boy Flawed and the double O Moose. Welcome in, mate. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. Don't do me like that. What's wrong with caps lock? Moose with the caps to be noticed. Indeed. Vin Motorsport cheering on Nathan Henderson as well. Good evening, thank you for tuning in. Dang, all chat glance blew my cue, says Farmer, who's in the Honda, up in 4th position and in to the pits at the moment. So good evening. We've got some Calpol being sent by Harry. We've got some Darryl Young in the chat as well.
John, has something happened to Farmer? Because he almost stopped to a crawl as he went over the pit lane speed limiter, and
yeah, he did. Yeah,
he's lost quite a number of positions. Well, down to 11th now. So I know there's drivers going past, but it just looked like he had a bit of an issue. I thought he ran out of fuel, but I don't know. It was a very strange moment.
I wonder if he didn't have his pit ready, or didn't have his limiter on, or had a problem engaging his limiter.
But even so, he pretty much stopped to a halt. It was very strange.
Very strange indeed. More drivers into the pits, an absolute flood of them. Jongen, Ticehurst and Papai in the pits as well. Tom Wegman still leading the overall race out on track. We've got Warrior in the chat saying that best livery for Perry, both Scotland and Aston Martin. How can that pairing not get love, says Bill Bobo. Amen to that. I'm good with that. Who else have we got? We've got so many people in the chat. Thank you everyone for tuning. Proxy Races always loved Denise's liveries. Amen to that. Phenomenal. Wild Things have always had amazing liveries. You are missing an absolutely awesome race. Oh look, not able to race tonight. Yeah, the track map shows how good the racing has been. Yeah, you need to take the word has and put absolutely, currently still is. The top two only separated by 0.7 of a second, Sean.
Yes.
It's incredible. We're 30 minutes in, we're halfway into the race. There's been all the action so far. We've seen drivers into the pits for mandated stops and track limit penalties. These two up at the front, which one do we think comes into the pits first here? Do we think they're sticking to their strategy no matter what, or do we think this interaction could change the plan that either of these drivers has? You're a far more competent driver than me. What's your thought process if you're one of these two?
I have no idea. To be honest, if it was me personally, I think the McLaren driver in P2, I think that he will be trying to copy what Wegman is doing. I think the fact of the matter is that there is barely tenths between them on each lap. The fact that I've been keeping an eye on Darryl Young, who is no slouch, as we see Konziak go into the pits now from P2, so no, he went completely against the grain and what I said there.
I'm sure he was listening. He said, oh, is that what the commentators think? Right, quick, pop into the pits, perfect. Darryl Young comes in as well, so that's two of the podium drivers coming in. He's a third of the way into the lap then, so Tom Wegman comes into the pits at the end of this lap, Sean, yes or no?
I would imagine he will do, yes.
Yeah, answer in kind, fear of the undercut. Let's take it from there, I would say, yeah?
Yeah, I think so, because of course they do need to change their tyres, and you know, you don't want to give the upper hand to the other driver when you can quite easily, you know, come in the next lap and not really lose any time. So so that is my thought, John.
Yeah, I think Wegman. Well, there is Konzig. On his way out of the pits, and we'll see what Wegman does. Darryl Young is on his way out. Ben Sullivan. Oh no, that's sorry, that is Daniel Kristoff. Ben Sullivan, there he is. There, he is into the pits as well. And as you can see, we've 6 minutes ago there was less than half a dozen cars or so that had been into the pits. Now we've got the vast majority of the field. Let's get a check in on where the championship. Well, Scotland at the moment, 16th position. In fact, I think that's going to iron out to be 14th. He's got a couple of cars ahead. He is still leading the arms. We've got Crystal and Bozo who are ahead of them but do still need to come in and take their pits. De La Souce has made it back out of the pits. He is currently in 23rd overall, second place in the arms. But it is Ben Sullivan who has had an absolute dream stint and pit stop. And oh John, no, my apologies, that's just ironed out. Sorry, yes, he is. He's not leading the way, it's Henderson that's leading the way, Derringer.
I did see a driver just drop down, and he was actually on the side of the road as well as when he was on board with Scotland and the trainer cars behind, just overtaking him. So I don't know if he was one of the drivers that was getting lapped or what, but it just seemed like somebody had an issue. But yeah, never mind.
Yeah, nothing jumping out on the highlights, but what is jumping out is Tom Wegman out of the pits into the lead of the race by 0.3 of a second, Sean. I cannot wait for the rest of the season, let alone the closing 26 minutes of this race. Konzig, defending champion, wrapped up season 3 in 4 races. If he does that this season, it's going to be an almighty effort and performance, because Tom Wegman, he's not here to play.
Yeah, so I got something right, eh? So yes, he did pit on the following lap there, but yeah, it is literally cat and mouse right now, and it is, to be honest, it is all on Wegman to try and keep his cool and keep this kind of pace up and keep Konzig behind him. Konzig, of course, will be hoping that he will be able to force a mistake from the leader of the race right now. But yeah, it's so good to see, and yeah, half a second between them, and has been for 22 laps of this race. Yeah, can't wait to see exactly happens in the last 25 minutes of this race, John.
Indeed, yeah. I tell you what, if anyone, for everyone that is watching in the chat, if you want to type in a W if you think Wegman's going to win, and a K if you think Konzig's going to win. Let's see what we think. Thank you to everyone as well that does support the QRT channel, following and tuning in all the time. For some reason my notification widget is not working at my end again, so if anyone has followed this evening, apologies that I haven't said thanks. We will get the chat bot working for next week, but yeah, thank you, and make sure everyone gets in the Discord and bullies Harry and the gang about getting the YouTube page started, so we can start back cataloguing these races, because it is like this race after race after race after race after race, and it has probably aged my voice box about 1,000,000 years doing the 4 seasons so far, and I'm absolutely here for it. Oh, the YouTube is there! Harry's about to share the link in the chat. Double O Raven is more than excited. Excellent. I know what I'm doing with pizza tonight. Konzig and Wegman. We've got Luke Sherlock. We've got an O.
We've got a drive-through for car number 420.
Okay.
I just see that come up in the corner of the screen there. So
that's Papai. Then 424. 420 is Alex Perry. In the Honda. Ah, no, somebody mentioned his livery, it's not worked. Now, we did an update, or has it worked? Yeah, it looks a bit black. We did an update on Awesome Sim Racing during practice. So hopefully, yeah, we'll get that double checked for next week. But someone did mention they had a really nice livery, so it'd be good to see it. We'll, yeah, we'll get them to double check their entry on Awesome Sim Racing. To see if we can get it up and running for next week. Mark Gibson, Fast and Furious Esports in the Mustang, looking for an overtake in the second half of the race. We've got Christo, last driver in the pits. That's going to put Scotland back in the lead, and he's 10th place.
He's moved up, yes,
yeah,
yes, indeed.
Thanks to that incident, I believe it's the oh no, Farmer is still ahead, but interestingly enough, Ticehurst is ahead of Scotland. It's Vinning that's dropped 2 places, so Vinning, that was looking absolutely solid, he has had a marginally long pit stop by 0.6 of a second, and it's cost him 2 places, Sean. 0.6 stopped longer in the pits, and it's cost him 2 places. I feel like I'm constantly just banging on about how close the racing is here, but the drivers are losing 2 places because they were stopped for 0.6 too long in the pit stop. It is insane.
It is insane indeed. Yeah, we still haven't decided on how to pronounce Vinning's name, whether it's Vining or Vinning. But yeah, certainly just the smallest of errors with small margins as well is phenomenal to see. And yeah, we'll see what pans out in the last sort of 21 minutes of this race as we ride on board with the Porsche driver, who is a very tiny margin away from the Honda driver in front of him, car number 420. That's how much time he lost by having to serve the drive-through penalty, and finds himself in a lowly P33 overall, which is what is that? P7. Is it 7? For the AMS?
Yes, for the AMS, yes.
Yeah.
Pajari was getting a shout in the chat there as well, and that is an incredible livery to have that dragon on the side, so I thought that would be worth nosy, and I was hoping we'd get a bit more sunshine on that side of the car. We will in a moment. These livery work is harder than driving. The drivers have got it easy, quite frankly, compared to the livery makers, and that'd be my opinion. He's got the big brain force, he's looking to unlap himself, but yeah, Pajari got some fans in the chat, so we'll bring that up. Let's see how the overall race lead is looking. Oh, as another drive-through comes in for a car further down the field. It's Ray.
Oh God.
In the silvers, just on the edge of the top 10 of the silvers. That is going to be costly. Konzig and Wegman. Konzig is just taking fastest lap of the race by 0.2 of a second.
Yes, and I saw in chat, in fact it was Luke Sherlock that is saying that Wegman will keep it up, he thinks. So that is heaping big pressure on such young shoulders. But yeah, Konziek certainly just reminding Wegman that he's still on point right now and with the fastest lap time. So we'll see whether or not Wegman can keep his cool and just keep his car in front of Konziek. But yeah, certainly just phenomenal stuff, and I love to see it. And yeah, just absolute sheer perfection, John.
Yeah, it really is. Absolutely spot on between the two of them. Glenn Toy looking for an overtake on Farmer in the Honda. There is the QRT Motorsport YouTube page. All the races will be uploaded. Make sure you get and watch their back catalogue. There is the Discord as well. Pingu with that one in the chat. And I actually usually do have, let me just grab the QRT host page on SimGrid, where you can sign up to all the races this very weekend. 8 hours of Spa. Oh yeah, and you know who'll be there? Me and Sean. That's right, Josh will be on that one as well. I mean, if this doesn't whet your appetite, then I'm not even sure you're a sim racing fan, I'm going to be honest. We've got Christophe Papai picking up a penalty. The Synergy Racing car not very synergetic with the track, and that drive-through is going to see positions lost. Matt Redfern, we'll see himself gain positions at the end. We've got Mike Wilson looking for some late overtakes with Martin's just ahead of him. That helped for Heroes livery. QRT on the other side looks unbelievably good. Doga in the chat, have a good race. I'm on vacation, so I'm not attending. See you in Spa. Looking forward to it. There is the 8 hours of Spa as well. So yeah, get yourself signed up for that. That's going to be an absolute cracker. Looking at some of the drivers that already are signed up. 17 minutes to go, Sean, and it is Operation Watch the Front Tube. Ironically, saying at the start we don't often watch the race leaders because they run away with it. We have an absolute barn burner up at the front. Either of these drivers loses so much as a 10th worth of tyre grip, and the complexion of this changes massively, and it is incredible to see. Oh, we seem to have. Yep, Sean.
Sorry,
just getting himself sorted out. No, you're okay. You're okay. There we go. Sorry, yeah, I was just saying. Oh no, there we go. That's that 1/10 of grip I was talking about, Sean. Now with the last corner, Wegman just losing a little bit there, and that is absolutely on top of one another. It is just at the moment the way things are looking. The class leads and arms and silvers are all sorted. Derringer is trying to keep up with Henderson.
Oh, massively wide.
Pick up a penalty for that one, surely. That's going to be a warning for track limits. Wow. Could you imagine this race is decided by a drive-through and Darrell Young ends up in second place?
I mean, stranger things have happened, John, certainly. but yeah, I mean, we don't know how many times Wegman has cut the corner so far. Perhaps using up one of his lives and to stay in front of Konziek, maybe?
I would absolutely say that is 100% a speed token expired there. Most definitely. Let me just quickly... sometimes bear with me a second, let me grab. Yes, so sometimes, occasionally, Discord's invitations can be time limited. But there you go, one from myself and one from Harry. So jump on that. There we go. We've got Wegman and Konzig. And Konzig, at the moment, if nothing else, he is actually going to be leading the championship next week because it is 3 huge points for the fastest lap, Sean. So now that that thought process has just run through my head, Konzig might actually think to himself, I'm taking a 2-point lead into next week anyway, there's no way I'm going to rip. But he is, I keep forgetting I'm not atop of the 3 sim racing driver. I'm talking nonsense, Sean. Konzig wants to win. He's not happy with the extra 3, but he wants to win. They all want to win. That's why we love it. It's why they're at the top, and it's why I commentate anyway.
I was just about to mention that, regardless of what the rules are and how many points you get for what, you know, drivers just, it doesn't matter whether or not it's a worthless race or you know, a prestigious championship. You know, drivers always want to win, but yeah, it could work in his favour if we was talking mathematically in terms of points and stuff. So yeah, we didn't actually consider that, but yes, honestly, I think he'll be wanting the fastest lap, but certainly the P1 as well.
Really well. Bill Mobo in the chat. Scotland inside the top 10.
Wow, it's better than that. Yeah, better than that. Last time I looked, he was P10, John. So Scotland going from strength to strength.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and it's actually Scott Ticehurst who's tumbled back down to 12th position. I think this may be the cause.
Right. Okay.
This is. Coming towards Champiarero.
Oh, there we go.
I'm always scared to finish that sentence there because I feel like I don't need to. It's Champiarero. That exit curve, it absolutely blows my mind how much contact drivers make with that curve, and I think it more blows my mind the number of times they get away with it as opposed to the number of times it actually comes a cropper. It's one of my biggest drawbacks in commentary, is every time I see drivers go through there, it's a massive intake of breath and every single muscle in me clenches up, and that is how easily it can go wrong. A millimetre. You're off in the gravel and you're back down 4 positions, and suddenly you've got an AM driver 4 spots ahead of you.
Yeah, and I hate to say it as well, John, but in relation to Ticehurst's livery, and those that are old enough to remember the adverts, but he certainly was tangoed.
Indeed, that was a joke that was well used last season, and it will be well used this season as well, that is for sure. He'll either, if he doesn't get tangoed, he'll be overtaking somebody and they'll be tangoed. And yeah, all the tango all season long. We might get a sponsorship, fingers crossed. We've seen another drive-through, all Borowitz in the Audi. Good to see the Audi's back in the race as well, a rarity recently. Double yellow motorsports, Jared Borowitz though bringing up the rear at the minute, and the drive-through for track limits. Run it can. Looking for an overstake. Some solid battles right through the field. The Honda Haugstad a bit down the road, but Khan and Pujari, the 2 Porsches, battling it out for 4th and 5th. Sorry, 5th and 6th in the arms. Manve EMA doing the chasing at the moment. There's confirmation that the drive-through's through. Christoph Papai back out after the drive-through, 23rd position. The pro driver finds himself, he was top 10 at one point, now in 23rd. Just every single sentence that comes out during commentary is just confirmation of how close the racing here is at QRT, and right through every level. Doesn't matter what you rate your own ability at, if you want to get involved in racing, this is a great place to start. As you can see, every level is catered for. Phenomenal grids, and great to see it. Nothing less than you would expect, Sean. The interaction between the blue flag traffic has been absolutely on point right throughout the race, and never once has caused an issue. Anytime we have seen contact, it's always cars that are, one of them's maybe just gone a bit too far in a corner, a bit of rubbing is racing, but certainly the blue flag interaction right through the field, as you would expect, absolutely on the money. And yeah, it's great to see. It really does add to how good the racing is.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there, John. Certainly, I've not seen any untowards between any driver, and especially Valencia, not the easiest circuit to navigate. Certainly pretty tight when we talk about the width of the circuit and the tight track limits, apart from turn 1, that is, because that one always baffles my mind a little bit. But yeah, it's great to see the sportsmanship between the drivers, and the fact that everyone respects one another and just wants to put on a good show and show us some amazing, clean and close racing. Big fair plays to QRT as a community as a whole, and yeah, certainly love to see it.
You do indeed. Try to take a sneaky drink of my tea.
It's
not gone well. I hit the wrong note on the way down, shall we say. Damien Konzig and Tom Wegman, neither of them have hit a bum note in a symphony of perfection that has played out here on track so far. 1500s separated them in qualifying, and as they cross the start-finish line, with less than 10 minutes to go, there's 3 tenths separate them into turn number 1. The McLaren and the Ferrari had a race that was close all the way through, and the won. Songs will be sung when we fill that blank in. Konzig with a bonus, 3 points for the fastest lap. But as the competitive amongst you know, that's not what he's here for. He wants that top spot on the podium at the minute. Tom Wegman doesn't feel like giving that one up. Still only 3 tenths separate them. 8 minutes to go. 1 minute 30 a lap for the two of these drivers. So quick and consistent. 1:31.2, so that's almost Wegman's slowest lap of the race that he's just put in there, and that is still half a second quicker than anyone else on track.
Yeah, and to be honest, John, as well, just looking at the top two there, so normally when you know, two cars are battling hard and not trying to give an inch, normally they, you know, lose time to the rest of the drivers. But actually looking at the gaps between Konziak in P2 and Daryl Young, that gap has extended to roughly about 15 seconds, which just shows you, in fact 16 seconds, so just shows you the sheer pace of the two drivers, and almost kind of like working as a team to try and pull away from the rest of the grid, so that maybe in the last few laps of the race they can really duke it out and see who will come out on top. Certainly looking at chat, they are expecting a big finish, and yeah, cheeky P3 for Daryl. It looks like if he doesn't make a mistake, it does look like he's reasonably confident and comfortable, actually, who has Van der Steeg in P4, roughly about 4 seconds adrift of him. So yeah, at the moment Daryl Young looking good for that podium, but of course anything can happen in the final 6.5 minutes, as we saw with Ticehurst, who was a little bit tangoed on the previous lap, but yeah, you can see now there is a fierce battle between three drivers in Jongen, Vining and Ticehurst, looking to battle for the top 9 position. So still a lot of racing to come in the final few laps of this race. We'll see who comes out on top, John.
Yeah, we've still got at least 3 laps to go, and we've got multiple three-way battles going on. Wilson has Papai and McCutcheon. Sorry, he's got McCutcheon in the slipstream. Papai sails up the inside. Potentially not too much defending coming there from Wilson, realising that there's a pro driver's coming up. He's running his own racing. In fact, McCutcheon sails through as well, so McCutcheon and Papai will continue their battle they're having. We've got Kranz as well. No, sorry, Rick Kranz there is where I'm looking for. Fast and Furious eSports team, great livery. They've got quite a few cars right through the competition. Got Goldie just ahead of them. The Rapid Racing team are going to need to be rapid if they're going to fend off the advances, because they're looking quick in the closing stages. Glanovsky as well, one of the earliest drivers to take the pit stop. He's all over the back of Lucas Ludka, a stalwart here, one of many stalwarts here at QRT, been racing for quite some time. It's great to see so many returning drivers and so many new ones as well. You know what they say, I said it earlier as well, iron sharpens iron. And yeah, if you want to test yourself again, if you want to test yourself and improve, you want to race against the best, and certainly that is what we're seeing up at the top. Still only half a second separating the top two. Konziak, is he playing the longest game of cat and mouse? We've got a couple of laps left to find out. We've got Vining and Ticehurst still all over the back of Jerome Jongen. Nathan Henderson doing a phenomenal job. He's just gone past, that is a blue flag. He's up in 13th position. He's ahead of Gibson, but more importantly, he's about 6 seconds ahead of Derringer. So Henderson, much like the old car advert, Sean, you don't know how well something's doing its job until it breaks. Henderson, involved in some skirmishes earlier on, some side-by-side, held his ground, took a position, lost a position, held his ground, took a position. But this second half of the race, he's come out, he's flown well and truly under the radar, and he is looking good for a race win in the silver. So getting up at the crack of dawn, well worth it for the Australian driver.
Yes, indeed. And, well, if I had that type of money, John, it does show you that Henderson has proved to me that the Aston is a very reliable purchase. So, yeah, no, phenomenal drive from him so far. You know, he's P1 in the silvers on merit and seems to be a class above the rest. But, yeah, P13 overall as well. You know, ahead of some very fast pro drivers and certainly looking good for his position. With yeah, Gibson, we're in. Sorry, we got Deringer in P15. The Lambo driver currently finds himself 5 seconds adrift of P1 Henderson. John.
Indeed, yeah, and in third place, the battle of Sullivan and Bell. It looks like it's going to finish the way it started. Sullivan ahead of Bell, the two QRT drivers. Terrible rear spoiler cam on the Aston, I keep forgetting that. Chris Bell in the McLaren doing the chasing. Let's get a camera that works. There we go. But yeah, the two QRT drivers, 8 tenths, 2 minutes to go. I tell you, we'll see Chris try and ring Ben's Bell in the closing stages and pinch that podium spot from him. We'll see team orders. Harry furiously typing in the chat. I can assure you, if he is in communication with the drivers, he is telling them to absolutely go for it. Let's race. Just don't go full Haas. Just in case. Yeah, Scott Ticehurst. Are we going to see a late move from him, or is it going to be Vining? Showing a lot of promise in the first half of the race. Was gifted a couple of positions when Ticehurst made a mistake, and he's all over the back of Jongen. All playing at the hands of Callum Scotland, who's still leading in the Arms de la Suisse. 17th overall and in second place, and of course Daniel Christoph in third position, 24th place overall. Not bad, top 25 out of 41 starting cars. We are on the final lap. There's 4 tenths of a second. It is now or never for Konzig. They've managed to clear another 5 cars of traffic. They may even have to interact with another 1 or 2 before they get to the end of the race. The fastest lap currently with Konzig. That's 3 bonus points, which gives them the championship lead. And ironically, yeah, it's going to give them an extra 10 seconds in the pits next week due to the success ballast. Let's see if he can find a move. 30 seconds to go. The time irrelevant. It's all about the checkered flag. It's going to be 39 laps completed. Wegman is going to have led for 38 and a half if he brings this one home, because Konzig did have the lead into turn number 1 off the start line. Wegman quickly took it back. They pitted on back-to-back laps, and Wegman came out 3 tenths ahead of Konzig. It could not be closer. The fastest lap of the race has been beaten twice, and it is now only 300ths between the fastest lap that these two drivers are bringing home across the line. They've both made it successfully through Champiero. They're going to make it to the last corner with the traffic still ahead of them. It is going to be Tom Wegman who is going to cross the line and take the checkered flag. Take a bow, both of these drivers. Absolute class acts across the line. The Ferrari and the McLaren had a race. The Ferrari won. It was a nail biter all the way to the end. And just to accentuate the class, the two of them pull over next to one another. There's no doubt be on up Konzig straight back to the pitch. But Darrell made up a monster amount of places and finished on the podium just like the commentator predicted. Great drive in the BMW. Van der Steeg in 4th. Kolanowski in 5th position. But it is going to be driver of the day and livery of the century, Callum Scotland. How can anyone deny this driver? Driver of the day, 8th place overall in the Arms. What a drive. Winner in the silvers, Nathan Henderson. Oh, Gibson's picked up a drive-through in the last lap. But Nathan Henderson will finish in first place in the silvers. Great drive there. Michael Deringer bringing home second in the silvers. Then De La Suisse finishing ahead of third in the silvers, but he will take second in the Arms. Sullivan in third place in the silvers, and Christoph already taking the checkered flag to round out the Arm podium. But Sean, there's 3 drivers we can talk about. 4. It's Wegman, it's Konzig, it's Young, it's Scotland. What a talent. What a bunch of talents. What a race.
Yes, absolutely, John. Absolutely. We saw quite a lot of action throughout that hour. I mean, I can't believe that hour has already surpassed us because, honestly, there was enough action to secure us throughout a whole day. It was phenomenal to see. Yeah, lots of plaudits have to go to Callum Scotland, of course, who wouldn't be expected to be anywhere near the reaches of where he got to in this race. Really doing the amateur drivers proud, and perhaps maybe shouldn't even be in that category of drivers if he's going to perform like he did today, John. But yeah, certainly the top 2 drivers, you know, you got to take the hats off to them, who you know, less than a second separated between them 2 throughout the whole race. Just absolute phenomenal job.
Yeah, indeed, it really was, and unfortunately the server ticked over before I could grab the replay.
Oh,
so if anyone did grab the replay, we'll see if anyone managed to get it. So yeah, unfortunately we don't have the closing highlights. That is, yeah, but there's nothing we can do about that. I'll bring up some more highlights from another QRT race, but yeah, that was an absolute banger. Congratulations to everyone, and of course next week so effectively the podium sitters from all 3 classes in this race will all have success ballast next week. First place 30 seconds, second place 20 seconds, and third place 10 seconds. They will serve that during their pit stop. Yeah, they'll serve that during their pit stop, and yeah, after race number 2, round 3, we'll see the championship leaders then be given the success ballast. So yeah, it doesn't always pay to do well, but it certainly makes it interesting for us lucky viewers. Absolutely incredible round yet again. The QRT GT3 Championship has gone from strength to strength to strength, and every season starts off as good as the previous season ends, and we've seen some incredible finales. And Sean, I'm sure you will agree, the QRT drivers, once again, an absolute spectacle of an hour of racing. The first 20 minutes seemed like 2 seconds.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, they never fail to disappoint us, John. That is for sure. Yeah, as I say, it was literally an absolute pleasure watching the race, and you know, I want to see another race. You know, I want to see more. But of course, for the time being, that is it for round 1, and with. Obviously, the next race is coming up in quick supply. Obviously, we've got 5 other fantastic races coming up in the near future, starting off with Spa in the next round. Yeah, I can't wait to see more exciting races, and we'll see whether or not we've got any of the same dominant drivers throughout the rounds, or whether or not we'll have a changing in hands with the leaders, especially with the success ballast coming into play, John.
Yeah, that's absolutely all to play for all season. As you say, Spa next up on the GT3 Season 4 calendar, but not next up on the QRT calendar. It's 8 hours of Spa this Saturday. Be there or be very disappointed. This action will continue as it always does across every single QRT race, so make sure you hit that follow button. Thank you to everyone that has done so this evening. Thank you massively to everyone in the chat. My voice is absolutely going. That was insanely brilliant. Captain Morgan, big finish. Declan Brogan in the chat as well. Again, thank you. Massive. Mick Scottish. Callum Scottish, driver of the day. Congratulations, my wrist hurts so much. I'll bet he had white knuckles from start to finish there. As you would expect. So yeah, massive thank you to everyone, and of course, huge thank you and good night from the one and only Mr. Sean Madden. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, and good night, everyone.
And from myself, Double O Raven, until next time, we'll leave you with some highlights of the next track here at QRT, the last race from Spa. So enjoy, and until Saturday, stay safe, take it easy, and have a great rest of your night. Good night.